Hey, NIMBYs. Hey, American Airlines. Hey, chew on that. Ah! $6 million. Never forget it, guys. $6 million that the Treasure Coast spent to try and stop All Aboard Florida dead in its tracks. And it all got down the drain. They could have spent that money on building a station, but hey, they just had to go and try and stop progress. And guess what? It got thrown out by a federal judge because it's a dumb case. It's a dumb case. Why are you going to try to stop a private company on their own land, on their own property, to go and build a privatized higher speed transportation system? It doesn't make any sense. And it was just all mostly about the bonds, that All Aboard Florida couldn't split the bonds up between Miami to West Palm Beach and then West Palm Beach to Orlando. Instead of, they had $1.75 billion in bonds that they were going to go public activity bonds that were tax-free, that they had to pay back, that wasn't on our taxpayer money, that they had to go and do to fund that whole entire section. However, because of the Treasure Coast and these NIMBY groups that try to stop it, the All Aboard Florida, what they did was they split it up so that case could be thrown out. And now this case was also thrown out also too as well. So all they did was just waste time. That's pretty much all they did, and they can't bide any more time. Really, the NIMBY groups over here in Florida, I think they're really, this is just about done. This is pretty much the death blow, the final nail in the coffin. And now we go to Texas, where it seems they just haven't learned, because the same thing is happening over there. There are now 4 bills in the Texas State Legislative Session that are trying to stop Texas Central Railway. If you don't know what Texas Central Railway is, we got a video for you right here so you can know everything about it. We also have a video with the president of Texas Central Railway, Judge Robert Echols, where we interview him and give him questions also too, and he answers us about anything we need to know about the project. And I'm telling you, this is pretty straightforward. It's a Japanese-centric project also too as well, where they're getting a lot of the technology from Japan Central Railways, which is being brought over here. So the technology transfer, they're going to build the trains over here. They're going to get the expertise over here. They're going to hire American jobs. It's going to be American materials, American steel that's going to go and be built into here. It's a win-win for everybody, right? Nah, because apparently, well, not apparently, there are a lot of landowners in Central Texas that oppose this project, and it's understandable. Unlike All Aboard Florida, which already owns the land, Texas Central Railway has to buy the land up. Remember, this isn't a government company, which is going to take, a longer time. It doesn't have, the access to eminent domain that a public company would have. A private company doesn't really have that access, so they have to gain a lot more capital. But still, there's a lot of benefits also to it as well. Like you see here of All Aboard Florida, within 5 years, they will go from planning, from inception, to already building something and already getting it done. That's it. That's all it took All Aboard Florida. Whereas the state government of Florida and the federal government has been taking 25 years to try to do something, and they've been failing over and over again. This was longer before I was even born here in Florida. For God's sakes, they couldn't even do it. So private companies are going to be the way to go, especially for what we're going to see with Trump's infrastructure plan, which is going to come up later, and there will be a video on that also too as well. But let's stick here to Texas to see what's going on. So there's 4 bills that are going into here. House Bill 2104 would require private companies to build high-speed rail lines to file a bond to cover the cost of returning land bought for the project back to its previous use if service ever stops. So they don't think it's even going to actually work. So they want all these guarantees to make sure that, well, if the project doesn't work, you got to give it back to landowners. After buying the land from those landowners already to begin with, because you don't just take land for free. You got to buy it. So after they buy land, they're paying over twice if it fails, which is not going to fail anyway, because this is a venture that is going to work. It has worked already in Japan. It's going to work here in Florida. Most economic experts agree with that. And this is something that's going to work now, especially with Texas' growing population. Nobody really wants to be on the highway. They want an easier way out, especially now. Do you want to get on an airplane? I mean, it's now every day where there's a fight on an airplane or a brawl going out or you getting, dragged out of the airline. Who wants to go on an airplane anymore? But hey, I digress. There's another bill, House Bill 2163, which would require the bullet train tracks running through Dallas, Ellis, Waller, and Harris counties to be built 40 feet high to allow movement of people, livestock, and other animals, and also to restrict development, which is really what it is. It's just restricting development. In places such as Dallas County, some of it is going to be built on the ground also too as well. So it's requiring everything, 100% of anything. In a county that has more than 1 million people on it, which I have the bill over here, more than 1 million people is required to have the whole section of that in the county to be 40 feet up. So it's just, again, making it harder for a private enterprise, for a private business to do this. This is Texas, okay? This is supposed to be the heart of libertarianism and conservatism and, free enterprise and private business. It's one of the most booming places right now to do business over in the United States. That's why there's so many people moving out of California, going into Texas and invading Texas too, because California ain't such a great place to do business, unfortunately, right now. But hey, I mean, that's the way it is. But I mean, why would they do this? So it's really most legislators in Texas are mostly Republican, and the people that are really doing this are not really, I would say conservatives. They're more of cuckservatives. I'm sure you've heard that word thrown around a lot of times. These are people who really don't care. They're being bought out and paid for by constituents, the oil companies, and the airline companies. Don't tell me they're not, because they are. And I'll get to that a little later on. We have another bill also here that's going to prevent the state from spending any money on a privately owned high-speed rail project until it secured an interest in or lien on the operating company's property or other assets. So, hey, you can't spend our money, but we can get a lien against you. What? So, okay, these would be the same people that would be A-okay with a road, an automobile road going through the land. But since it's a train, a quiet, clean, electric train going through the land, oh no. And it's a private company too. The state would be building a road. The federal government would be building a road. But if a private company builds a railroad, oh no. Oh no, we can't have that happen. House Bill 2172 will prevent legislators from spending state funds to plan, build, maintain, or operate a privately owned high-speed rail line. So now they're even getting legislators out of it, which, I mean, that's all right. But again, this is just more and more, this is just more roadblocks against high-speed rail. Just get out of the way. Come on, just let it build. We already know that it's going to work. We have enough evidence. We have enough video. Look at it here in this documentary here about the American train, how it's worked well in Japan, how it's worked well in Europe, and how it will work well over here in America. Now, here's a really funny thing that I found in this article. We have the ringleader of the NIMBY groups over in Texas. If you guys don't know him, his name is Judge Ben Lehman. So you have Judge Robert Echols versus Judge Ben Lehman. It's the battle of the judges here, folks. But Ben Lehman says that it's not the oil companies and Southwest Airlines who are behind the opposition. It is literally independent grassroots citizens. Wait a second. Not the oil companies and Southwest Airlines. Well, let's go about the airlines, because we already know American Airlines is behind a lot of what's going on over here. I mean, Bob Crandall, the leader of the opposition group over here. No, that's definitely not the airlines into that. It's the one-armed man, right? No. It's not the oil companies. Wow, Lehman, Your Honor, we've been looking into this. So here we go. Are you ready? You ready, folks? Here we go. This just took me 30 minutes to look up. Okay, so you ready? The chairman and counsel, Texas against HSR, right? Chairman Judge Ben Lehman, okay? Your Honor, right? He served as CEO of Merrimack Manufacturing Incorporated until 2008, serving as both president and CEO until the sale of the company in 2012. Under his leadership during this 4-year period, the company experienced approximately 700% growth. Wow, I mean, he's a great businessman, right? But what is Merrimack Manufacturing? Guess what? Merrimack Manufacturing Incorporated manufactures and markets products for the oil and gas industry. It's not the oil companies and Southwest Airlines who are behind this opposition. Manufactures and markets products for the oil and gas industry. Ding! He also donated $2,000 to Association of Energy Service Companies, according to OpenSecrets.org. OpenSecrets.com. I just love using that website because you just get so much out of people into there. Also, Frank Riley, the general counsel of Texas Against HSR, is a partner with a firm that deals in energy, natural resources litigation. Now, if any of you have been in a law firm or a legal litigation or lobbying firm, you know that there's stuff that goes on behind there. People also, some of it is not really private records, public records either. I mean, there's a lot of confidentiality into this also too as well for people to represent, let's say, an oil company, or let's say Southwest Airlines, to go and defeat a certain piece of legislation, or perhaps stop a certain business from running because it conflicts with your own. You're seeing this, right? So again, I'm going to put these links also for you as well, because I'm certain if you guys dig deeper down the rabbit hole, you're going to find a lot of stuff also too as well. So I'm giving you guys a lot of this information. I put a lot of effort into researching what's been going on with all aboard Florida, who's really behind the opposition, and we can see over here in Texas, the oil companies. I mean, the oil companies are pretty big in Texas. That's what made Texas Texas also too as well. I mean, I'm not saying that everybody connected with the oil company has to be against this, but to say that the oil companies are not behind the opposition, when you literally have the chairman of this group, who is part of an oil company or a company that manufactures oil goods, I mean, you gotta say it. So here's my message to the people of Texas. This is going to bring a ton of jobs to Texas. You're going to have construction workers doing this. You're going to have service people in the stations. You're going to have people who are going to be running the trains. Not only that, there's even expansions in the works also too as well. From Dallas to Fort Worth, 40 miles, and even to San Antonio, the Texas Triangle right there. These are all three of these places, San Antonio, Dallas, Houston. These are places that are growing tremendously in America. They're going to be centers of commerce over here, and to just, well, subject people to the airlines and subject people to the cars. You're going to cause more congestion, more traffic. You're going to waste billions of more dollars in traffic and spending and just death and destruction on the road. We have 46,000 people a year dying on the road. How many people have died on a high-speed train in Japan? Let me see. I can count that number on one hand. No, actually, you can cut off both my hands and you can still count it. 0 people have died on Japanese high-speed rail. These are the same people who are going to build also for Texas as well. It only makes perfect sense. I mean, right? You only want the safest and the best for your community. So why would you not want this? Again, there's going to be, is either choice A or B. For those of you who do own land, I understand. I've spoken with Texans. Okay, I know a couple of Texans. Okay, I know the connection you have to the land. Believe me, I know. Okay, my family are landowners also too as well, and we used to be big landowners also too as well until it was all taken away by a dictatorial government. We know that. However, this is something different. You only have choice A or B. And even though you don't see choice B, which is going to be building a road, an automobile road through your land, it's going to be a simple choice. I know you don't see it now, but it's going to come up. It's going to be a time where the population is going to grow, the congestion is going to grow, and guess what? The Texas legislature is going to come right back and say, well, guess what? We're going to put in a bill for using $40 billion of your taxpayer money to go and build a road. Oh, wait, guess what? We're going to need more for that. We're going to probably need $80 billion. You know what? We're going to make it $120 billion. Instead of building right now for this railroad, which will work. Okay, it has worked in Europe. It has worked in Japan. The reason why the airline companies don't want it is because they've seen the success of it. They know in short haul flight it's going to destroy that market. So we know that's going to happen. In the oil companies, it's obvious. People are not going to be on the roads spending a whole lot of money on gas or anything like that. They're going to say, well, I can take the train, just go downtown, and once I get over there, get an Uber or something like that, and there I'm done. Or just use the DART or anything else to get around the town. Don't need a car, really. I can just go and take this train. That scares a lot of people in the oil industry. But guess what? That's business. You shouldn't be subjecting any rules in regulating business like that, especially in Texas. So don't be a conservative. Be a real Texan and get this done. This is a private company that's doing this. Again, time will tell to see if whether this goes in or not. Most likely, it seems like it's going to, because guess what? The legislative session to push in the bills, yeah, that date's kind of passed, and these bills haven't passed committee. So guess what? All this that I just said about these bills going through, rack up another win, folks. You're not gonna get tired of winning. I guarantee it. So let's see what's gonna go on and happen with All Aboard Florida. It's gonna open up very soon, and I guarantee you we're gonna be there to see it also to open up as well. And be sure to subscribe so when that happens, you'll be one of the first people to see it, because it's going to be awesome. Also, if you want to help the club also too as well, you can also pledge to our Patreon. It's a way to help us out, because again, the way we can keep doing more videos and keep getting the news out to you is if you can support us, either by subscribing, by pledging to our Patreon. Anyways, we'll see you all next time. Miami to West Palm Beach, and then West Palm Beach to Orlando. Instead of, they had $1.75 billion in bonds that they were going to go, public activity bonds that were tax-free, that they had to pay back, that wasn't on our taxpayer money, that they had to go and do to fund that whole entire section. However, because of the Treasure Coast and these NIMBY groups that tried to stop it, the All Aboard Florida, what they did was the $6 million. Never forget it, guys. $6 million that the Treasure Coast spent to try and stop All Aboard Florida dead in its tracks. And it all got down the drain. They could have spent that money on building a station, but hey, they just had to go and try to stop progress. And guess what? It got thrown out by a federal judge because... Hey, NIMBYs. Hey, American Airlines. Hey, chew on that. Because it's a dumb case. It's a dumb case. Why are you gonna try to stop a private company on their own land, on their own property, to go and build a privatized higher speed transportation system? It doesn't make any sense. And it was just all mostly about the bonds, that All Aboard Florida couldn't split the bonds up between